It's almost over, and I can't believe it, and I cannot believe what a ride it's been. Obviously, it got cut short a little bit. That's my fault. I apologize.
Loser.
But you know what? We're going to make the best of what we got left.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is by you. Welcome back to the Underqualified Knuckleheads Sports Podcast, Ball State's premier sports podcast. And it's a somber day.
It is.
Because this is the first time I will be saying that intro. Welcome to the finale. Welcome to the last dance. Welcome to the final season of the Underqualified Knuckleheads. I'm your co-host, as always, Daniel Keene. Joined alongside me, Andy Newman. Andrew, we got a lot to go. We have some time.
We could do theoretically like 16 episodes of a final season, like a mega season.
You want to do a mega season?
I don't know.
Honestly, let's do a mega season.
We'll see. We'll see where it goes and what we got going on for the rest of this semester. But it's almost over, and I can't believe it, and I cannot believe what a ride it's been. Obviously, it got cut short a little bit. That's my fault. I apologize.
Loser.
But you know what? We're going to make the best of what we got left, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a fun time, and Daniel is going to sneeze in the corner, and I'm going to keep rambling.
You didn't have to tell them I was
No, I thought that would be funnier.
That'd be funnier?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I didn't sneeze into the mic. I was listening to a podcast, and it was like one of those talk show style podcasts.
Yeah.
The one guy coughed into the mic. Like,
oh,
I'm not going to do that because I don't want to hurt anybody's ears right now.
Yeah.
And then like 10 minutes later, the other guy just sneezed into the mic.
Ew. I remember watching CBS Sports, like their pregame show for the NFL, and literally half the set was sick, and some guy didn't use the cough button right and was just coughing. I think it was Phil Simms. Boomer Esiason, Phil Simms, and no, it was James Brown, whatever his name is, the main guy that's on the desk for CBS NFL Monday or Sunday mornings or whatever. But anyway, all of them are sick. Hopefully you're not sick. Are you sick? No, just sneezing. Understood.
No, I think I have a really sensitive nose, dust, things that don't smell normal, cats, general animals. Like, I'm good with dogs, but if a dog is like up in my nose, I get sneezy.
Yeah,
I
know what you mean.
If a cat is up in my face, like I live with two cats, and the cats aren't allowed in my room because if one of them happens to lay on my pillow, and I don't notice that and wash my pillowcase, I will fall asleep, and it will be actually the worst night of my life.
Oh, I have bad allergies with cats too. I mean, the thing that I don't like about cats and a lot of animals in general is just like they shed a lot, so it gets all over my clothes, and then just it irks me.
That's fair. You should get like a hypoallergenic cat.
That would be, or just a dog,
or a dog, a hypoallergenic dog, or a dog that
I do have
shed
one
a
of
lot.
those. I have a dog that like barely sheds at all.
What kind of dog do you have?
Cocker Spaniel.
Cocker Spaniel. What's your Cocker Spaniel's name?
Izzy. Shout out Izzy.
Izzy. I have a husky named Willow.
Shout out to both of our dogs.
Yeah.
And shout out to all the cats out there.
No, the cat. I live with two cats. One of them, Sullivan, really likes going under my bed. So anytime I open the door, like just a crack, guy sneaks in, goes all the way into the corner of my bed, and I can't like go down there and pick him up or anything. He's just sitting there. So I get like cat treats and I put him outside my bed, and he knows exactly what's going to happen when he goes and gets that cat treat. I'm going to pick him up, take it out of my room. So this morning, he ran under my bed, and my roommate just crawled under my bed to get him. And I was like, I'm really glad you did that because I'm not doing that.
So how was your break, sir? I mean, this is our first time since we've been gone.
Happy New Year.
Yes,
Happy New Year,
2024.
2024, the big year.
The year of the Knucklehead.
The year of the Knucklehead.
Yes, the final year of the Knucklehead.
Okay, man, why you gotta keep bringing it up?
By the way, I don't know if we can. I think we had always planned on calling the show the last year
the
qualified knuckleheads, but you're not going to be qualified.
I'm not qualified, so maybe what we can do is like
the half qualified
after you graduate. So honestly, this is the final season of the Knuckleheads as we know it.
Yes,
but if Andy doesn't want to leave Indiana, so at least for next year, we might do like sporadic Knuckleheads episodes when he's in Fort Wayne or wherever he ends up.
Evansville. Who knows?
Honestly, I want to see you in
South
Indy.
Bend.
I want to see you in Indy.
And Indy would be cool.
Covering the Colts.
We'll get there.
Yeah, he'll get there. But we could do like sporadic podcasts because Andy has other reasons to visit Ball State, and while he's here, he'll visit me because best friend material.
Of course.
High five mid pod. But we could do like sporadic episodes, and we could call it semi-qualified knuckleheads.
Yes, of course.
And then when I graduate, if we do like We'll do like once a year. We'll have a 3-hour podcast where we just catch up on everything in life.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And we'll call it the Qualified Knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about like our professional careers.
Yeah. You know what? That could
Okay.
be fun.
I got a plan.
This is a thought.
I got a plan, Stan.
I like it.
I'm also really glad we saved all of our shows because I think by the time we're like 60 or 70, either A, the world's going to end, or B, like Spotify's just going to be obsolete and we can go and listen back to our shows. That'll be awesome.
That would be
really fun.
It would be interesting.
No, my break was good. I did a lot of traveling. I probably spent upwards of 100 hours in a car.
That sucks.
We went down to San Antonio. I saw most of my family. My 2 brothers couldn't make it out, but everyone else made it out. It was a good little time down there. And then made it back in time for New Year's with some people, with some good friends. And then I went home to watch the national semifinal between Michigan and Alabama. And that was a pretty good game.
Good.
Obviously, hail to the victors. Michigan came out on top. And then I actually watched it with a couple friends, but then I watched like the rest of it. It was the night before school started.
Yeah.
So it was the night before the school started was a national championship game. So I watched like the first half with a couple friends, and then I went home.
It was the night of school started.
Oh yeah,
So
it was
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it was
Monday.
Monday.
So that was like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
This week has been a long week.
It has. I agree. It's been a very long week.
I think the first week of the semester is always just super long because you're like.
This is the most I've ever felt it, I think. I think that senioritis
the
is
last
starting
one,
to set
man.
in.
It's the last one.
Start to set in.
But yeah, so I watched like the final couple minutes of the game on my phone in my bed, and I was just waiting for it to end, celebrated, tweeted about it, went to bed. But yeah, how was your break?
It was pretty good. I really enjoyed just getting to spend time just kind of back home with a bunch of friends, see all them. Just kind of recharge. Didn't really do anything over break other than just, again, like I'll watch a lot of TV and hang out with my family. Watch some Colts games, obviously. Did not end the greatest way. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
We will.
I had a good break up until about Saturday. Got to go to my friend's wedding, though. It was awesome. Shout out Daniel LaRue, now a married man.
Daniel LaRue.
Yes, I was
Congratulations, Daniel.
I was the DJ. I played the songs and I announced the stuff. We played some games. It was fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So he did like.
I might get you to DJ my wedding.
No.
What, was it not good?
I mean, it was fine, but I don't think I'd do it again. I did it because he wanted me to. But like he had like only like 4 groomsmen, and the 4 of them were like his 2 brothers, his now wife's brother, and like his best friend of all time. So me and my 2 other friends, Daniel, Ricky, and Corbin, were like 2 of his other like 3 probably closest friends outside of those 4.
Yeah.
So he just gave us jobs to do. So they got to be flower men, and I got to be announcer man and king of the reception. So that was fun. I had a good time.
Fun.
Yeah. But obviously, again, you probably had a great time over break watching those. A lot of sports games that are going or football games mostly. It's pretty much just football. That is going very, very well in the city of Detroit and for the state of Michigan. Your thoughts? I already know you just dove in a little bit to Michigan. Congratulations, national champions. After a year of controversy and concern,
oh my God,
the Connor Stallions, whatever that
Guy
was.
will never pay for a drink in the city of Ann Arbor again.
No, and man was there. He was there.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
I would be too.
The Harbaugh prophecy has been fulfilled. He's done his job.
I think
Michigan is the king of the nation.
I think this storyline is really beautiful for the University of Michigan. Harbaugh came in at a time when the program was without a doubt in shambles.
Not great.
Not great at all. And, it wasn't great off the bat either. It was a steep climb for Jim Harbaugh.
Well, there was one point during, I think it was COVID year, right, where they almost
it was an absolute fiasco.
A field goal away from firing him.
There were questions about whether or not Jim Harbaugh should even be the head coach of the University of Michigan.
Correct.
And you know what? Kind of sucked. It was a tough period. People doubted him, but he brought him back from the brink. He packed it. He made a Michigan play style. He developed the best defense in the country. He leaned into some old school football, and he just started beating the pants off teams. 15-0. Team, I think it's 147. Michigan team 147?
Okay.
144.
Yeah.
Let me triple check that. But will go down as the best, probably. Honestly. One sec. Sorry.
What are you looking at? They're trying to figure out the best.
No,
like,
I'm
record,
trying
or-
to make sure that it's either 143, 147, or 144. I'm mixing up all my numbers right now. I'll fact check that while you're talking. But this Michigan football team will, without a doubt, be
one of the best.
one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah.
And I wanted to highlight this in the game, and we can talk about this in just a second. But J.J. McCarthy threw the ball 18 times.
Yeah.
Blake Corum ran the ball 21 times. Donovan Edwards added another 6, and we had a couple rushes off the brink. But this team did not win it flashy. You know, Washington was that high-flying West Coast aerial offense that we needed to worry about. And Michigan did what they did all season. They ran the football. They ran it. They won the game in the trenches. They made some throws when they needed to make some throws. That's what I love about J.J. McCarthy. He's the quarterback that can make any throw you need him to make in the moment, but he's also fine being a system quarterback, which is what he was at Michigan.
He played it well. I mean, he did a great job with what his job was supposed to be. And, I mean, obviously, you can't really do it much better other than he's very Stetson Bennett-like in my –
Yep, very Stetson Bennett.
Stetson-y.
Except I will pause you on the Stetson Bennett conversation because I think J.J. McCarthy is one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football right now.
Okay.
I say that with a little bit of bias, obviously.
Yeah.
Just won the national championship. But look at some of the throws that he makes to bail Michigan out on third down, bailed them out on second, and even made some big plays.
I think he's projected to go top 15 in the draft. So, I mean, at this point.
So here's the conversation, and this is actually what I was going to pose to you.
Yeah.
I think he has one of the, if not the highest ceiling of any quarterback in the draft right now, including Caleb Williams.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not saying he should go number 1 overall. I'm not saying he will go number 1 overall. But he's a junior. He's not super old. He's kind of on the younger side. He can be the most talented quarterback in this draft. However, playing at the University of Michigan has not helped his draft stock. What were you going to say? Well,
I was just going to say, I mean, there are a lot of very talented quarterbacks that are going to be entering this year's draft. Quinn Ewers just said that he wasn't, and I think that's interesting to see kind of where Arch Manning is going to go or what he's going to do.
I think we see him transfer.
You really think so? I mean, he must have come in with the thought or knowledge that he may not play for a couple of years, and I don't know
if they told him right off the bat that he wasn't going to play his first 2 years.
Crazy.
I don't know. Maybe Arch Manning knew that. Maybe if he knew that and he committed, then it's fine. It's whatever. But if he thought Quinn Ewers is going to commit to the draft after 1 year, be a one and done and go, I mean, he hasn't immediately put his name in the portal, right?
No. I mean, he is not. He's still on the team. Like as everyone from everyone's perspective, I don't think there's been no chatter of him transferring. I mean, people thinking that he may just because of Quinn coming back. But I don't know. I mean,
where would you like to see him go if he transfers?
Ole Miss,
Tennessee,
or even Tennessee would be. I mean, I think Ole Miss is like the Manning family. Like, that's where it's at.
Well, Peyton went to Tennessee,
correct,
right? Yeah,
correct.
But Ole Miss is Arch.
Ole Miss is Archie Manning's alma mater, Eli Manning's alma mater, and Arch's dad Cooper's alma mater.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Didn't know that.
Yes. So Cooper
did the son Cooper, one of the brothers.
Yes, one of the 3.
Did he play at Ole Miss too? No, he didn't play college football.
So he was on the team at Ole Miss. And then he got diagnosed with the neck thing and the spine thing, and like had to relearn how to walk. So he got.
But Cooper's Arch Manning's dad.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. Because Cooper's the oldest.
Yeah. Circling back to J.J. McCarthy real quick before we move on. Totally.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy's 20.
That's crazy.
I am older than J.J. McCarthy.
So am I.
Kind of blows my mind.
Really? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
He was born January 20th, 2003. So he turns 21 in 8 days. We're not that much older than him.
No.
But
I'm about 6 months
Did I say January 10th, 2023? January 10th, 2003. But he is we are older than him, which blows my mind, but he's young.
He is.
However, and this kind of transition into our head coaching conversation that we have a little bit later in the show. But I think J.J. McCarthy staying at Michigan rests on what happens with that head coaching job.
Yeah.
It's almost inevitably understood that. Inevitably understood?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Just keep going with it.
Some things never change.
Roll.
It is understood that Jim Harbaugh has more than likely coached his last year at Michigan.
You think so?
Or his last game at Michigan.
Wow.
One, because he's done what he said he was going to.
Yeah.
He came back to Michigan to win a national championship for his alma mater.
Happened.
He did it. Took him a while. Took him some scary lights, scary times, but he did it. Now, he's got one more summit to climb. He took the 49ers to 3 straight NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. But what did he not do?
Win it.
He wants to win a Super Bowl. As a
That'd
coach,
be cool.
I mean, there's only 3 coaches who've won both a national championship and a Super Bowl, and it's Jimmy Johnson. It's
Is Pete Carroll one of them?
Pete Carroll, and then the third. It wasn't Bo. No, it wasn't.
We're looking it up right now. Boom. Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson. So, yeah, and Pete Carroll is the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, like I said, he wants to climb that mountain next. Also,
That'd be cool.
there are NFL teams fawning over Jim Harbaugh right now. The thing with it is, he can have his pick of the litter. I mean, except for New England, obviously, but he can have his pick of the litter. I don't think he comes back to Michigan.
That's crazy. I mean,
if he doesn't come back to Michigan, there's a good chance that the offensive coordinator, who spent a lot of time as the interim this year,
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
the guy who cried when.
Why am I forgetting his name right now? It's
bro who cried. That's all I know.
Banfield.
Yeah,
Sharon Moe. Yeah, more
crying. He was thinking like it was like
he was like, "This is for you, Coach Harbaugh."
It's like he got like a death sentence. It was on death row or something. Like bro was crying.
But
it was a 4-game suspension. Chill.
There's a good chance that he gets promoted to head coach, or they bring somebody else in. Whatever happens, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that'll heavily influence whether or not J.J. McCarthy stays.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance he stays because, and like I mentioned, I think he's the most talented quarterback in the NFL draft.
Yeah. Wow.
I think he
over Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams
and Michael Penix.
He's 20 years old.
Hey.
He's 20 years old.
So was AR. Well, AR at this time. Then his birthday.
I mean, he was 20. He's just about to turn 21. He's young.
Yep.
He was a 5-star recruit out of high school.
Yeah.
We have seen his ability to throw the ball well.
Hey.
However, he plays in Michigan's system. What did I say when I talked about the Washington game? Michigan played that old school football. They ran the ball. They ran the ball down Washington's throat. Let me pull up their stats. It was something like 300 yards.
Hey,
303 rushing yards to Washington's 46.
Hey, Michigan quarterbacks have worked out well in the NFL.
Michigan quarterbacks have worked out well in the NFL.
I can tell you one. Come on.
Don't do it.
Well, I can tell you 2.
Well, you can do a good one, a bad one? Because I was going to say Jim Harbaugh and Tom Brady.
That's exactly who I was going to say, too.
Oh, my God. I thought you were going to say, like...
No, it's Jim Harbaugh and Tom Brady. Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, seriously.
I thought you were going to say, like, Shea Patterson
No, that guy. Yeah. Hey, Michigan Panther alum.
Oh, my God.
Shut up. We got to talk about that, too. I want to.
Oh, yes. Bit. Yeah, we will.
Continue.
Yeah, but kind of moving on from that, let's talk NFL coaches as we've brought up Jim Harbaugh.
You want to talk NFL coaches now?
Yeah, and then we'll go into playoffs.
All right.
That's all right.
Cool.
Anything else in the national championship? What did you think?
I think it was a fun game. I think Michael Penix played his heart out, but it wasn't their day. And I don't think Washington had a good enough team to beat that Michigan team. They're just too good. I really like the idea of possibly making the Rose Bowl the official national championship game every year.
I would. I love the Rose Bowl.
I think that'd be awesome. Like just the views from that semifinal game was just some of the coolest stuff, like the sunset and just like seeing the mountains and everything. I think it was super neat. Also, college football talk. Notre Dame absolutely walloped in their Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, which whatever. I mean, I know the bowl games are kind of becoming a little less and less relevant, but it was fun to at least see Notre Dame play one more time and do very, very well. But yeah, good. Shout out to Michigan. Good for them. Good for you guys. Finally bringing home a title after a long time.
Great for the state of Michigan.
Great season for you as well. 15-0. You really can't do much better than that.
Cannot do much better than that.
Nope.
Yeah, like we said, Jim Harbaugh most likely on the move. The NFL, technically.
Well, before we get into the NFL, how about this? Let's keep it on college football and coaches, and pay respects to probably the greatest coach.
Greatest college coach of all time, without a doubt, Nick Saban.
Nick Saban has retired officially. He came out and said...
That was kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, is out of nowhere. Well, he kind of just talked about... I watched his interview. He was talking about how all of these players that were coming in and recruiting were asking him to like, hey, are you guaranteed going to be here 3, 4, 5 years? And he couldn't do it anymore. I mean, he could not continue to guarantee like his time because he didn't know how long he had left. He also talked about how this year took a lot out of him. It was very grueling. And I know that he had some those physical injuries a little bit during the year. I know he's getting a little older, but he said like the schedule, I mean, he could do it as a young guy, but as you get older, leaving at 2 a.m. and coming back at 6 a.m. is just not something that he can really do anymore.
He's also 72 years old.
I mean, he's old. I mean, and he said that he's starting to kind of lose connection with some of the guys a little bit and just not understanding exactly what's going on. He's still a great, great coach, and he accomplished literally more than any other college football coach in the history of college football.
Yep.
So he will go down as the greatest college football coach of all time. I don't know if really anyone can ever replicate that.
Also,
we say that, but then things happen. But
yeah, it really needs to be said what he did for the program at Alabama.
I mean,
when he came in,
elevated it.
I mean, he did what Jim Harbaugh did tenfold. I mean, Jim Harbaugh came back and said, I want to win this school a national title. I want to bring him back to national prominence. And he did. 3 straight CFPs, a national championship, beating the team down south, returning to the Big Ten championship on a yearly basis, being that team. Nick Saban not only did it, but created a legacy and a brand at Alabama that will not go away for a long time.
I mean, he's elevated that school, I think, for status for years of people that are still interested in going purely based on name recognition and what the school's accomplished in the past. I mean, he's gone, and that success, I mean, I don't know if it'll travel with him or not, but it'll still be a place that people for years or students for years will want to go to purely based on the name Alabama and how synonymous it is with winning football. I mean, 4 BCS national championships and 3 college football playoff national championships. I mean, that's 7 of them. I don't know how much better you can do other than, you got to be Tom Brady to do the exact same amount. So, I mean, hey, congratulations to him. I know that SEC fans are incredibly happy. I know that the rest of college football is incredibly happy as well, but also know and pay respects to one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
And speaking of that.
That being said.
Yeah.
I pulled up this NBC article from Dallas-Fort Worth, which I don't know what they're doing reporting on this.
On who?
Who should replace Nick Saban as Alabama head coach? I was reading it this morning. What I like doing is I like going to like 4 or 5 different news sites with the same story and see what they cover.
Yeah.
This one was the funniest to me because it has 2 candidates who I legitimately believe could be in the conversation to become the head coach.
Yep.
And then it has 2 candidates that I genuinely am a little confused by. So
Dabo Swinney was wild. Was one of them I saw.
Yeah, it's on there.
Is it really?
Yeah. So this one I think is a hot maybe. Steve Sarkisian, the current Texas head coach. He has like that Texas is going to become an SEC school.
Correct.
He's coaching at Texas. I don't think he's leaving Texas. I think it's a very job's not done. Also, there could be in his mind that Texas is as big a program as Alabama. Doesn't have the national prominence right now, but is a big program.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So not a whole lot of reason to leave. Somebody who could have a reason to leave their program, which I'm not sure if they will, Kalen DeBoer, Washington head coach who just led the now former Pac-12 school to the national championship. I think that's a likely candidate. I don't know about you.
I mean, he did a very good job. I mean, their team was very, very good this year.
To be fair, in his 2 seasons, 25-3.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they need a big name. They need a big name to keep the big feeling of Alabama. I don't know.
That's a big name like
a big splash.
Mike Vrabel?
Correct.
I think Mike Vrabel's a good idea.
That.
I think Mike Vrabel getting fired from the Titans is a little bit out of pocket.
Wild.
I get that every now and then you just need to reset your franchise, but I think that's wild.
We'll get into that a little bit more here in a sec when we get to NFL coaches.
Yeah, Dabo Swinney, Clemson head coach. This one I'm a little bit like, why? So yeah, he has a history at Alabama. He was an assistant there from 93 to 2000, but also
whatever.
I mean, I feel like there was that 4-year period where
Clemson was better than Alabama.
And Alabama were duking it out at the top. I feel like that's just a weird switch.
Yeah.
And then this one will make you laugh. Deion Sanders.
I saw that Stephen A. Smith tried to say that, and people were saying that's one of the stupidest things they've ever heard.
I get it. He's an electric guy. He's a heavy recruiter. He brings a lot of swagger to the program. He went 27-6 in 3 seasons at Jackson State. He went 4-8 at Colorado, and those 8 losses, it wasn't like close games.
They got blown out.
They got, I think it was Oregon was their first really big blowout.
So bad.
It was ugly. It was like a bye game pretty much. So I get it. I think give him another year, a couple years at Colorado.
I think Primetime is a guy that you hire in order to increase ticket sales at a lesser performing Power 5 school, like at Colorado. Like I don't really know if I see any other like big competing teams really hiring him unless he continues to have success at Colorado, which he has not shown.
If he can build up Colorado,
if he can
and do his thing, great. But
I feel like he's just like a big, big name that you put out in front of people to buy tickets.
You do have to think. I mean, they're rebuilding the program. 4-8 in his first year isn't horrible.
No,
but to put up a 4-8, like if he came in and went undefeated, maybe.
Yeah.
But he came in and went 4-8.
Correct.
That is not worthy of going to Alabama.
After starting out 3-0.
After starting out 3-0. Maybe people were thinking Alabama after 3-0.
Yeah.
But, so total side note. Have you seen his leg? Did you see that jogging video?
No.
Look up that jogging video, and he's jogging around, and they're talking about his injury, and he rolls up his pant, and he shows you like his leg, you know the leg that almost got amputated? It's gnarly.
Messed up?
Yeah. I mean, viewer discretion is advised. It is pretty gnarly to look at.
Understood.
But is kind of crazy that he's like,
I'll have to look that up.
He's still jogging on it.
Yeah, but no, I think that they need some sort of big name. I think low key, they need
Jim Harbaugh.
I think an NFL coach would be a good idea to bring in there.
Like who?
Like I don't know. Maybe a guy who still has a couple years left. Maybe a guy who's had success. Maybe a guy who wants to try his hand out something a little different.
Don't you dare.
Maybe
Do not.
A guy who's had the most success of all time, but you know what? He still has a little bit left in the tank.
Don't do it.
Maybe Bill Belichick.
No.
I'm kidding.
Imagine.
That would be nuts.
That would be crazy.
Speaking of that, we'll have to do another one of these. Let's stop and recognize greatness. Bill Belichick, after 24 years as the head coach of the New England Patriots, has been asked to step down as both the general manager
and the head coach. It was a mutual decision.
Yes, it's a mutual decision, but it was really kind of more they asked him, I would say. Bill Belichick, after, again, 24 years of GMing and head coaching for the New England Patriots, has ended his tenure with the team. And you know what? I've never been a Bill Belichick fan, never been a fan of the Patriots franchise, never been a fan of Tom Brady, but I can recognize greatness when I see it. And that guy is, unequivocally, probably the greatest coach of all time in the NFL. I mean, you can throw in some other names there, John Madden, your Don Shula's, your Tom Landry's, whatever. But I think Bill Belichick has 6 rings, and you really can't argue. And then he also, honestly, there's even a little bit of an argument to be made that he's the greatest general manager of all time as well, with 6 Super Bowls as a general manager. I mean, hey. That was his job title, but congratulations to Bill, everything that they've done. And in New England, again, was never a fan of anything that they really did, but I can recognize greatness and appreciate it when I see it. And it's going to be an odd sight to see on the New England Patriots sidelines there not be an old scowling man that hates everything.
I'm going to be a hater for a second here.
Go ahead. That's fine
Credit
with me.
where credit is due. I mean, he has 7 Super Bowls. Six, sorry.
Yeah.
Greatest of all time.
Well, I think he has one as like an assistant coach, maybe.
Bill Parcells?
I don't know. I'm going to look that up. Continue, though.
Okay. Either way, most Super Bowls by a head coach.
Correct.
Outstanding. Yes. Crazy.
Yep.
Here's Bill Belichick's record with Tom Brady. 219 wins, 64 losses. Here's Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady. 80 wins, 92 losses. I'm not saying I completely agree with the narrative that Bill Belichick was only good when Tom Brady was there, but have we seen how it's gone since Bill Belichick lost Tom Brady?
But here's the thing. I still think that what you can consider Tom Brady a fruit of Bill Belichick's labor. In my opinion, Tom Brady would never become what he is today without the help of Bill Belichick, without the Bill Belichick taking a chance on him in the 6th round, without Bill Belichick giving him the reins after Drew Bledsoe went down, without Bill Belichick continuing to have faith in Tom Brady as a quarterback over Drew Bledsoe. There, in all intents and purposes, I do not believe that there is a Tom Brady without a Bill Belichick, and I don't believe that there is a Bill Belichick as we see him today without a Tom Brady. I think that they're both synonymous with each other, and they both helped each other in ways that we really can't see or imagine. But I think Tom Brady at the end there eclipsed Bill, and just became a little bit bigger, just because he won that extra Super Bowl. I mean, and that's not saying Tom Brady won it all by himself. There was like 15 future Hall of Famers that decided to come and play because he's a 6-time Super Bowl champion. So don't just say that Tom Brady dragged a bunch of nobodies to the Super Bowl and won it. I mean, he had a lot of help. But I think the two will be linked together in history forever. But I do understand the argument of Tom Brady eclipsing Bill in that sense because of that extra Super Bowl win. I will also say that Bill does have 2 Super Bowls as some sort of assistant or helping out coach, by the way. So he has 8 rings. Not as head coach, but just 8 rings in general, which is still nuts.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, also, I know we've dogged on his. I was doing a little bit of a devil's advocate there. I do think he's one of the greatest head coaches of all time. I know people have dogged on his GM abilities, but this is the parting gift he's left the Patriots with: $70 million free cap and the number 3 overall pick. If you're gonna leave, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
it's a real good way to do it. Speaking of, not just where Bill Belichick might land, where all of these vacant coaching positions may land. The Patriots very quickly hired Jared Mayo as head coach.
Gerard Mayo.
Oh, really?
It's Gerard Mayo.
I feel bad for that. Gerard Mayo.
You're good.
Less than 24 hours after firing Bill Belichick, I think it came out that it was in his contract.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That he would be the successor to Bill Belichick no matter what, which is good for the Patriots.
Former Patriots player as well.
Former Patriots first-round draft pick.
Is he really?
Yeah, he was inside linebackers coach.
Wow.
Since he played for them for 8 seasons and then was the inside linebackers coach. But I haven't heard a lot about that guy, but maybe Patriots fans or more in-depth football fans than me know more. But that sounds good for the Patriots. But before they did hire Gerard Mayo, it was like a couple hours where a quarter of all NFL teams did not have a head coach. I thought it was pretty crazy.
Which is crazy.
But with that being said, let's talk about who we think might fill these open roles. Let's start with the Washington Commanders.
Okay. And by the way, those 2 extra wins that Bill had were as an assistant for the New York Giants.
Under Bill Parcells, right?
I do believe so, yes.
Called it.
Yeah. Yes, you're correct. But continue. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I just said, first off, we're going to start with the Washington Commanders.
Oh, about who we think is going to fill each position here. Is the Commanders' position officially open?
Yeah.
They fired Ron Rivera?
They fired Ron Rivera on Black Monday.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah.
What?
For those unaware, Black Monday is the Monday after the regular season ends, and it's historically when the most coaching turnover in the NFL.
I totally did not even notice that.
Yeah.
I completely missed that. Wow. Shout out R.I.P. Ron. My bad. I did that. I completely
no,
missed
but
that
it was
news.
known. It was known. Guy was dead man walking.
Yeah. I don't know who fills this spot though. I mean,
really?
No. Who do you got?
I think there's if you want to be ambitious, according to
Bill Belichick,
Adam Schefter, but not the Rams, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Commanders are all very interested in hiring Bill Belichick.
I know the Falcons are. I did see that.
I don't really know what's next for Bill Belichick, but I don't think rebuilding another organization is what he wants to do.
I wouldn't. I mean, he's already tried his hand at that with the Patriots, and look how well that went.
Yeah.
It did not go well.
So some people are calling in for him. I don't really know. I don't really know about the Commanders. I don't really know who wants to work for the Commanders right now. It's not as bad of a head coaching prospect as the Panthers is, but it's definitely not pretty.
I mean, honestly, I still would probably rather go to the Panthers than I would Washington at this point. I mean, they're both honestly pretty bad either way. I mean, they're both 32 in a 32 league team. I mean, they're both awful. I just don't know who would
There's-
have interest in either.
There's
really.
been talk of Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator. There is talk of
I know people are interviewing
maybe
him.
Mike Vrabel to Washington. Everybody's putting a request for Ben Johnson.
Vrabel's everywhere.
Vrabel could be everywhere because I think everybody else is picking up on the fact that there's no reason why the Titans should not have fired him, or should have fired him.
I want to speak on that now. I mean, that I think was probably the biggest bonehead move of the offseason so far. Mike Vrabel out as the Titans head coach after I don't know how many years he's been there. He literally had won Coach of the Year in like 2 years ago. Like, dude he did a lot for that franchise. And I'll be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure if it's Vrabel's fault or more of the GM's fault for having a god-awful roster that he had to work with. Aside from Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins, can you name me one more Titan? Can you name me one?
Give me your list again.
Will Levis, Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Derrick Henry.
Taylor Lewan and Jack Conklin.
Taylor Lewan is no longer on the Titans.
Oh, like active? Oh.
Active.
Is Robert Woods still on the Titans?
Maybe.
Robert Woods, maybe.
Maybe.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
You are hard pressed. You are hard pressed to figure out who the heck is on the Titans anymore.
Yeah, that roster's in shambles.
It is bad. It's a
but I don't think
horrible
that's a
roster.
Vrabel problem. I think that's an administrative
That's
problem.
what I'm saying, is that they blaming the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I don't think that was anything that he should it's the sword he should not have fallen on that sword whatsoever.
Yeah. We'll come back to the Titans. I want to pull up this Washington Post article I read this morning, which is really good for the Commander's job.
Robert Woods is on the Texans.
Really?
Yes. So no.
Dang. He was on my fantasy team last year, and he was on the Titans. So
Yeah,
here's,
last year.
per the Washington Post, here are the executives that the Commanders have set interview requests for. So right now, most of the teams that have potential coaching candidates are in the playoffs. So they have interview requests for teams, which basically means, we would like to interview this coach, and teams basically will respond and say, once we're out of the playoffs or once our season is over, we'll let you interview them. But they've requested to interview Adam Peters, San Francisco 49ers. These are for the GM jobs. They're the executive jobs. Adam Peters, San Francisco 49ers assistant GM. He's a top candidate in the 2024 cycle. Alec Halaby, Philadelphia Eagles assistant GM. I think anybody coming out of the executive office in Philly or San Francisco, phenomenal. Because the work that their front office has done in both of those teams in the last 2 and 3 years is amazing.
Yeah.
Ian Cunningham, assistant GM in Chicago Bears. I don't really know who that is. Glenn Cook, I've heard more about, but he's the assistant GM and VP of player personnel at the Browns. Wait, why are we doing GMs?
I don't know.
I don't really care.
I don't really care either.
Okay, great. Let's skip that. Here are the coaches they've interviewed so far. They've only interviewed one, and it's the Ravens' Anthony Weaver. He's their assistant head coach and defensive line coach. And then they've requested Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn, Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. Anthony Weaver, I already said that. Aaron Glenn, Lions defensive coordinator. Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator for the Rams, and Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator for the Rams, as well as Bobby Slowick. I think Bobby Slowick is a hot prospect. I don't know if he'll leave this offseason, but he is a hot prospect of head coaching spots, in my opinion.
I mean, really, every year it's basically the same kind of deal where if there's any team that has any kind of success, they want to replicate that when they want to find the guys that are at the forefront of that. Mm-hmm. So any team that has success creates new opportunities for other teams and new opportunities for people that are creating that success. So I don't know who exactly is going to get put where. We'll kind of just see how the cards kind of fold and lie later on in the year as each team kind of looks and tries to find their fit. I assume that Vrabel will land somewhere on his feet. And I also, again,
I think let's get a little bit down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
I think with the Commander's job, they're going to go for an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Because they have the number 2 all pick. They're going to pick the best quarterback available with the number 2 overall pick, and they're going to develop that quarterback, and they're going to start something. That, or they're going to draft Marvin Harrison. But we'll see.
And something that we mentioned, or an individual that we mentioned earlier in this podcast that begs some respect as well. Maybe not as much respect as Bill Belichick or Nick Saban, but a man who has done a lot for both the game of college football and the game of the NFL. Pete Carroll has finally been ousted.
Yeah.
I think probably that the Seahawks decided that it was time for him to be done as a head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
Did he win a national championship at USC?
He won a national championship
and
at
he
USC,
won a Super Bowl.
And he won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't think we listed him earlier when we were
We
listening.
did. We did.
Oh,
I
we did?
brought him
Okay,
up.
okay,
I brought
okay.
up Pete Carroll.
I think he's staying with the Seahawks in advisory capacity.
Yes, he's in an
though.
advisory position. I think it's very similar to what happened with Bruce Arians with the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Where he decided that
It's getting old.
He was old and still wanted to do stuff, but really couldn't do everything that he wanted to anymore as a head coaching position.
Coach,
Yeah. So I think it'll be very similar to how that whole thing played out with Bruce Arians. I mean, he's still around. He's still in the building, still talking with people, but he's no longer the head coach. I mean, run for Pete Carroll. He almost he was on the brink of a dynasty there in the early 2010s. But a good run in Seattle. They ended 9-8. I'm kind of shocked that they decided that they wanted to move on from him. Maybe there were some things we don't know about.
Similar to Bill Belichick, just getting older, looking for a reset, looking to change up the franchise a little bit.
I mean, hey, if you can win 9 games with Geno Smith, in my opinion, good on you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying Geno Smith's bad, but he's not like a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Josh Allen. He's not any kind of premier guy that begs you can just win games and sit back and watch it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he had to put in a little work there, and you know what? I'm sad to see him go. He was an electric guy on the sidelines. We always enjoyed those videos of him throwing the football.
Did you see him thanking his family in his presser?
I did not. No.
Oof, had me in tears.
It was sad.
Really sad. It was a really good moment though.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. So he's staying in advisory capacity, and that'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the Commanders. Like I said,
Yeah.
We're going to look at Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson, offensive. I think they should do an offensive coordinator. They're going to take the best quarterback available with the number 2 overall pick and build around that quarterback. If they're not doing that, I'm a little confused as to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Moving on, Los Angeles Chargers fired Brendan Staley. I mean,
yeah,
we saw that one coming. I think everybody saw that one coming.
Who's surprised? Not us.
Not
nope.
yet.
Anyone here surprised? Nope.
Nope. I think if Jim Harbaugh leaves, which I think he is, like I said, I think he should go to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah. I mean, that's an appetizing job. I mean, you've got a lot of key pieces there.
There's not a whole lot wrong with the Chargers right
other
now.
than coaching. I mean, really. I mean, you got Justin Herbert, who I think is a very, very good quarterback in the NFL. You got Keenan Allen. You got Mike Williams. You got that one dude that's kind of a horrible pick from TCU, Quentin Johnston, right? Am I correct? Yep. Who ended up being a big bust.
Just a drop.
Yep, he just kind of sucks. And Khalil Mack is still out there. I mean, you still got some good – you got a lot of good players. And even Austin Eckler. People forget about Austin Eckler and how much success he had a couple years ago. Obviously not that much this year. But if you have a good coach, you got a lot of talent and skill players that can do some damage. And if you get back to kind of where they were and were trending at the beginning of Justin Herbert's career, I think that they can be a dangerous team and pose really a threat to the Chiefs and everyone in the AFC if they get the right pieces.
I think that's the best prospect for Jim Harbaugh right now.
Yeah.
That's what I think I go with.
It'd be a good hey, get to live out in LA.
The only other job that he might entertain, because he entertained it last season, is the Raiders. And I think the Raiders are going to make a big play for Jim Harbaugh because, I mean, Al Davis did this all the time. His son, Mark Davis, is doing it as well.
Yeah.
They want to make a big splash. They want to make a big, flashy splash for a head coach. Last season, they had Rich Bisaccia as their interim head coach after the Gruden not last season, was the season before?
Maybe. I think it was a season before.
Might have been a few years ago, but
because they hired Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, so after Gruden left, they had Rich Bisaccia, who finished the season strong and should have become the head coach. And they canned it, and they went with
Josh McDaniels.
Ugh.
And he stinks.
He stank
bad.
Stank bad.
Bad.
He's not only was he bad, everybody hated him.
Correct.
Culture was bad.
Terrible.
Players were upset. Nobody wanted to work with him.
Yep.
They fire him, and Antonio Pierce comes in as the Raiders head coach. Leads them to a 5-4 finish, following whatever bedwetting experience Josh McDaniels had.
And the quarterback was Aiden O'Connell.
The players love him.
Games.
The players love him. Devontae Adams Devontae Adams is, I think he's has a core of players that are lobbying for him to be the next coach.
And they should.
Antonio Pierce is the logical option.
I think so.
I think if they don't hire Antonio Pierce, they are setting themselves up for failure. They also are probably still paying off Gruden's contract and are still paying off Mike McDaniel's contract for the next year or so.
Speaking of Gruden, I have heard some rumblings of him making a possible return to the NFL. I've heard that.
Where?
Washington. I mean, that's a team that'd be desperate enough to hire him.
Yeah, but Dan Snyder's not there anymore. They're not making any bonehead calls.
Any dumb decisions.
But
hey, you know who would make dumb decisions as the owner? Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, hey.
We'll get to them.
Hey.
But, yeah, so like I said, I think Antonio Pierce is going to stay.
Yeah.
I like it. New England Patriots, we already talked about that, Gerard Mayo.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks, this was fun.
Yeah.
What do you think about Dan Quinn? Give him another shot.
You know what? He's done a lot of great things for the Cowboys this year.
He's done a lot of great things for the Cowboys defense, and I think Seattle would love to bring back that Legion of Boom.
That would be cool. I mean, I don't know. I think that Dan Quinn isn't a horrible hire. I've heard a lot of rumblings of him possibly getting another shot. I mean, I don't really know if he was even the big issue that was really what was going on in Atlanta. I think they just kind of sucked. Really, in all honesty. I mean, Dan Quinn got him to the Super Bowl, should have won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's a horrible idea. Obviously, he's proved himself again with how well the Cowboys defense is playing most of the time.
He was also Pete Carroll's former top coordinator.
Yeah.
So I think
makes sense.
I mean, I like it.
Continue.
Real quick.
What are you looking up here?
Check something.
Making sure that Dan Quinn was actually under Pete Carroll.
No, he was.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he was there during the Legion of Boom era.
Oh, really?
While I look that up, moving on to the Falcons. The Falcons reportedly are super interested in Bill Belichick.
Which I don't know what team wouldn't be. I mean, he's still the greatest coach of all time, and sometimes just this change of scenery to get back to kind of your old form. I mean, we've seen that with Peyton Manning. We've seen that with other coaches that kind of go from.
Yeah, Quinn was during the Legion Boom era.
Cool.
So I would love to see them hire him and bring him back.
Yeah, like you can Tony Dungy. Was kind of waning, and they didn't really like what was going on in the Buccaneerville, and he went to the Colts and won a Super Bowl in a couple years. I mean, sometimes it just takes a change of scenery from one place to another that you just was kind of getting into a rut to change things up and get back to your old form. Is Bill Belichick too old for that to happen? I don't know.
Does he want to work with? I mean, hear me out.
If he still has a passion for the game and still wants to do it, then
I think
hire him.
I think he's a defensive-minded coach, so Falcons need a little help on defense. However, I think, like I said with the Commander's job, I think a Bobby Slowick, maybe even Eric Bieniemy, Ben Johnson type hire here would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because they have some pieces. I mean, yeah, we know that Ritter isn't an NFL quarterback. They need to bring in an NFL quarterback. But when they do, they have pieces. They have Bijan Robinson, a running back.
Yeah.
They have – why am I blanking on his name at tight end?
Oh, Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, they have Kyle Pitts at tight end, who is one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the NFL, and I don't know why they weren't using him the way they were this year. But like I said, I think offensive revamp should be a good idea there. I mean, the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl on that high-flying offense with Julio Jones and Matt Ryan, so I would lean that way. Tennessee Titans, Eric Bieniemy. Did you just say rehire Mike Vrabel? Fire. I mean, I think they should. They should just rehire the guy. But I like Mike.
Mike Vrabel seems like a great fit for the Titans. I mean, really.
I don't think Mike Vrabel's going to land in any of the head coaching jobs that are available right now.
That's crazy.
I think he's going to do what Dan Quinn's going to do. He's going to go do a coordinator gig for a little while and get a job somewhere else.
I think that's crazy.
Or he's going to go to college football. I think he deserves it. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to happen. Tennessee Titans, I like Eric Bieniemy. I don't know.
He finally gets hired?
I don't know why he hasn't, but...
Well, I can tell you right now, it's because the Commanders are terrible.
Yeah, but they're not terrible because of their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, their offense was not a problem this season.
Well, here's the thing. My question is that Eric Bieniemy made the lateral move in order to get more recognition, I guess, instead of being under the umbrella of Andy Reid.
I think he was. I think there was talk that he should have, he was in line, or I thought that when he moved from Kansas City to Washington that he was
an automatic hire.
Well, I thought it'd be in the same way that Mayo got hired.
Yeah.
It was in his contract that he'd be the next head coach. Honestly, Eric Bieniemy in Washington wouldn't be a bad idea.
No.
And I would assume that they
shocked
are
that he's
interviewing
not.
him. If they're not, they're not. That's weird.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't end up in Washington, like I said, the Titans, the Panthers. Well, we'll talk about the Panthers because they're last on my list. The Titans, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Commanders are all very much like I think a big-time offensive coordinator needs to go to that team.
Yeah. Continue.
But yeah, Eric Bieniemy.
Yep.
Like I said, the Slowick, Johnson, Eric Bieniemy, they're all kind of interchangeable in these teams. As long as you get a high-powered offensive coordinator to go there.
Yep.
Speaking of the Carolina Panthers, they shouldn't hire anybody.
Just to fold the franchise.
They just fold the franchise, move somewhere else, go to Montana. I would love a Montana team. Just anything other than what they have right now because it sucks.
It's bad.
No,
I mean, owners throwing drinks on people. Your consensus number one overall pick is awful.
I don't think he's awful strictly because he's awful. I think there's some coaching issue there.
There's a lot of bad.
But with that being said, if you can work with a crazy if you can work with a crazy owner and a dwindling fan base, it's not a horrible idea to look at a Ben Johnson type guy who will go to Carolina with their high draft pick, revamp his career a little bit, work with him, build around him, get some solid players. I think it's a good idea.
Now, I mean, I don't really know where you can go as a Panthers fan. Like, are you even like
David?
What are
crazy.
what are you expecting out of next season? I mean, if you get this newsflash hire of a head coach, like I don't really know. I think low-key, if Mike Vrabel doesn't have a whole lot of options, this would be a good landing spot for him. I think that they really need someone that can be hard on their team and like, hey, like you guys suck. Let's try and be better because this is so bad. I mean, the complete opposite of a Frank Reich type, you know?
Yeah.
Frank Reich is more of a players kind of coach, like you can do better, buddy kind of thing. But
I'll give you that.
Vrabel would whip him into shape, in my opinion. But you got to feel bad for Bryce Young.
You do.
You got to. I mean, dude went from being a Heisman winner, a college football national championship winner, to winning 2 games in his first year in the NFL. I mean, it's very similar to Peyton Manning's story. And Peyton Manning had very similar stats to Bryce Young this year, obviously, aside from yards and touchdowns. But everything else was very, very comparable to Peyton Manning's first year. And you know what? I always consider the first year of a player's career kind of a wash. Like, sometimes you do have great success, like C.J. Stroud. And Andrew Luck even. In other years, you have, like Peyton Manning, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. List goes on and on. I mean, I would not write off Bryce Young yet, but things aren't looking great. But then again, a lot of people wrote off Peyton Manning, and look how that ended up. Ended up really well.
That's fair.
So, hey, we'll see where it goes. It may just be a change in the coach, and things will get rolling in Carolina.
Yeah, hopefully that wasn't too chaotic or confusing as we talked about that. But if it was, I mean, we are underqualified for at least a semester more.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up the show talking about
playoffs.
Wait. Did you want to talk Colts?
I can talk Colts for a sec. I mean, I don't really want to talk Colts a whole lot just because, I mean, everybody knows what kind of happened. The Colts were a catch away from the 4th seed in the AFC playoffs. I was watching the game while driving back from my buddy's wedding and watching the game on my phone and on my laptop the whole time. It's a great game, back and forth. It looked there like the Colts kind of had it. We really did. And it ended up, and if we would have won that game, we would have won the AFC South. I mean, not at that time, we didn't know, but Jags ended up absolutely choking.
Yeah, it was bad.
Jags suck. Anyway, one of the last chance, Colts have the ball in their own territory on like their own 15. We need 1 yard to run out the clock, score a touchdown, and basically win the game and save our season. 4th down and 1. And apparently a play that Shane Steichen had been drawing up the entire week was a short little dump-off pass in the flat to our 4th-string running back. The play scheme itself worked, and they had been practicing that all week. So when it came down to it, season on the line, death beam pointed at Lucas Oil Stadium, Shane Steichen said, "I want Tyler Goodson." Poor choice. Tyler Goodson, ball hits him in the hands, drops the ball. Also, poor pass thrown by Gardner Minshew. Everyone's kind of is yes or no on whether or not that was a good play call for one, a good or bad pass from Gardner Minshew, or whose fault it was to blame, or who was to blame. I don't know. I think it was a combined effort of all three to all screw it up. But all the Colts really needed was a yard to keep their season alive and probably continue into the playoffs. It didn't happen. So another disappointing finish for the Colts season, as it kind of always ends up like that. But, I mean, we have a bright future. I wasn't expecting any wins, really, this year at all. But we got 9. We ended up with a winning record. And thankfully for the Bengals and the Seattle Seahawks winning, we actually have the 15th pick in the draft now. So we finished bottom half of the league, which is nuts. But it is what it is. It's the life of being a Colts fan. I know you as a Lions fan have been prone to disappointment year after year. I'm getting used to that a little bit more now, and it kind of sucks. But you know what? We've got a lot of hope. I think Anthony Richardson will be a great quarterback as the future kind of goes on. I think that Shane Steichen is absolutely unequivocally the answer to all of our coaching problems. I think he had a fantastic year, and he's a candidate for Coach of the Year as well. I think that we're another good, maybe solid wide receiver, and a couple secondary pieces away from having a dangerous team, and obviously a healthy Anthony Richardson away from having a dangerous team in the future and for years to come. So,
yeah,
it's a sad way to end it, but there's a good outlook. That's how I feel. And shout out to C.J. Stroud for having a fantastic rookie year. I knew you'd be good, and I'm depressed that you're not on our team, but AR's my guy.
What we should do for the upcoming draft this year is we should do a 2-part episode.
Ooh.
We should do the first part where we grade the draft picks.
Okay.
Well, so one, we do where
I do a Zion Johnson.
Yes. Well, we do what those teams drafted and what we graded them, but also we'll include what we thought they were going to draft. And then in the second part, we do a whole first-round draft.
We could talk about that.
Who was on our draft episode last year?
I know that a couple years ago it was Zuber, because Zuber was one that made fun of me.
Zuber was last year.
There's
only been 2.
Was pre-draft. I think it was
There's
pre-draft.
been 2, because the freshman year it was Charleston Bulls. Oh, I miss Charleston. He's awesome.
Shout out Charleston.
Was it pre-draft?
It was pre-draft that Zoobs was on, I think. But yeah,
we'll
either
look
way.
It up. Yeah.
Either way,
get excited,
we'll
guys.
get there. There's still a lot left to go.
Yeah.
Underqualified.
But hear me out though.
We're getting close to an hour, man. That's nuts.
I know. We're
trying. You want to talk NFL teams real quick and then kind of.
That's what we're gonna do. I was gonna mention a few things about the Colts first.
Okay, give me your thoughts.
What'd you guys go? 9-7?
9-8.
9-8?
Yeah.
If you told a Colts fan
Yeah.
that they were going to go 9-8 this year and have an exciting season of ups and downs,
Yeah.
they would have taken it.
I would have.
I think you guys have a lot of Colts fans who, I mean, honestly, yeah, he dropped the pass. It sucked.
Yep.
But there's no reason to crucify the player.
No.
Like, that's just a play. That just happens. That's just football.
He's a human being.
He's a human being.
I'm well aware that, and people will be like, well, he gets paid millions of dollars to do it. I get it.
I fell in the shower this morning. Are you going to tell me that
you're not allowed to?
I'm not
allowed to walk anymore.
Yeah, like what if I end up making $1.5 million a year
to walk,
or like to
is that a job?
Get to work on time? You can't fault me for falling in the shower. Okay, it happens.
Shout out your foot, by the way.
I feel like I had a better analogy, but
it could have been better.
Yeah.
But you know what? Again, I understand. The post game presser of him being like, "I want to see my parents." They're probably the only people loving me right now. Is so sad.
Yeah,
I mean, bro was tearing up,
but
crying.
And I think as you guys got closer to potentially being in the playoffs, there was a little bit of shine in most Colts fans' light where they were like, playoffs, not. Let's enjoy what we have.
Yeah.
So last season, I was a little bit of the variety. Like I want the Lions to make the playoffs, but also I took a little bit of the backseat of the, you know what? This is one of our best seasons ever in my lifetime. I'm just gonna enjoy it. And then we beat Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field in his final game as a Packer to keep him out of the playoffs. Like I don't care if we made it. That moment was beautiful. So I think be happy with what you have. Also,
just heartbreaking.
I mean, where are the Colts drafting next season?
I said 15th draft pick.
15th, not bad.
Bottom half.
Maybe they can trade up, get that Marvin Harrison going.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. But AR-15's coming back.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
AR-5.
AR-5, yeah. AR-5's coming back. You get him a solid wideout. Jonathan Taylor has a good restful offseason. Defense needs a little bit of tweaks.
We need some more
Colts
cornerback depth.
Colts aren't going to be bad. No, I liked Minshew though.
Cornerback.
Oh, I thought you said I loved Minshew.
Yeah, Minshew was a good. It's been an hour.
Well, it's been an hour. Okay,
Wow.
well, live video. Sorry.
Goodbye.
I guess you'll just have to go to our Spotify
Or our Apple podcast.
or our Apple podcast to get our episode. Either way, but yeah, it will be scary hours. If Ballard puts up and shuts up as a GM and makes some moves this offseason, it'll be scary hours, and I'm excited for the Colts' future. And I think the Colts fans have to be excited for the Colts' future because there's nothing good. Like, it's good. My team's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Very excited about that. Let's run through the AFC first, and then we're going to spend a little bit longer on the NFC.
Yeah. Let's make it quicker.
Yeah, quicker. First up, Baltimore gets the first round. They're the number 1 overall, first round bye.
Yep.
Houston, Cleveland. I think it's gonna be Houston.
I think so.
I would love to see Joe Flacco go to his old
stomping ground
and beat up on the Ravens. But I do think it's gonna be Houston. I think Cleveland, like Flacco's play right now, is very. He's got some good throws in him, but he's also thrown 8 interceptions in his very limited time.
Yeah.
A little bit of me is like, it's not going to work in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm saying Houston.
Okay. In my opinion, I think the Browns are rolling.
Okay.
I like what they're doing. I think that they're a very good football team. I'd give it to the Browns in my professional opinion.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Real quick, let me write these down so we can talk about it.
Let's share the live stream. Here, give it to me, and then we'll put it back up, and we won't have to save it or anything. But yeah, I think the Browns are really are a good football team. And I think that they have a really good shot at beating the Texans. I don't think the Texans are all that good. I mean, they were a good thrown pass away from losing the Indianapolis Colts. But I think that they can do it in the playoffs. I think Joe Flacco has a lot of experience and has done a lot of good things in the playoffs and has won 7 road playoff games in his career, which is one behind Tom Brady. Tied with Tom Brady. He can eclipse Tom Brady with a win, I do believe.
That'd be cool.
So I think it would. I think I'd give my edge to the Browns in this one.
Okay.
I was not very high on the Texans. Also, I hate the Texans now. So
go crazy, I guess. All right, next up, Kansas City, Miami. This will be good. However, real quick, welcome back.
Sorry about that. The live's back.
We're
gonna double it up. It stops in an hour. Did you know
I did
that?
not know live stopped at an hour.
Which is dumb.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
I'll talk to my brother, get him to fix that.
Does he work at Instagram?
Yeah. You know this.
No.
My oldest brother works at Instagram.
Can he fix that?
I don't think he can do that, but he definitely knows the people who do that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, he does cool stuff.
Well, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay. Kansas City, Miami. It should be a really good game. However, it's supposed to be like -8 degrees at kickoff at Arrowhead Stadium.
I heard -30-degree wind chill.
Yeah. So
Nuts.
we might see Tua get Tua
get what? Tua get
Tua disaster class.
Yes, Tua's disaster. There we go.
We'll say that
better.
instead of Tua getting. You didn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tua sucking.
If Tua can kind of make some throws in the cold, it's going to be a good game. However, I don't know. I know this might favor the Chiefs, but I'm going to say benefit of the doubt. Mike McDaniel gets his first playoff win.
No.
Second playoff win.
I'm just saying they're not going to win.
Oh, I think it's his first playoff win though. But
I don't think. I don't really remember the. Yes, I don't think the Dolphins were in last year. I don't think the Dolphins made it. I don't think they've even been in the playoffs, really.
Yeah, I think it's his first playoff win as head coach.
Yeah, well, first playoff appearance even. I don't remember last time were the Dolphins in last year? No. So yeah, it'd be his first playoff. Either way, it's first playoff appearance, impossible first win. I don't think that they win though.
To the playoffs last year.
They were not in the playoffs last year.
When was the last time? Yeah, the last time they made it. Oh no, 2022 and 23. So
what?
Yeah. So I don't know. Either way. Let's get back on track because we are at well over an hour now.
Yeah, I know. My bad.
I don't care.
Whatever. If you care, you'll listen.
We'll have long episodes.
Yeah.
Last year.
Whatever.
Andy says Kansas City. beats Miami. I'm writing these down
Oh,
because
the Dolphins were in. They lost to the Bills.
Yeah. So
Got it.
speaking of the Bills, 2 versus 7. Buffalo hosts Pittsburgh. It's going to be Buffalo.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm going to say that I think that the Kansas City Chiefs will win, and I also think that Buffalo is going to win. I don't think I think the Steelers are one of the worst playoff teams of all time. They're easily the worst 10-7 team of all time.
They have not been good in a while.
They're bad, but they've won 10 games, which is just nuts. I think again that is
Mike Tomlin. Tomlin, man.
That is a testament to Mike Tomlin, how good he is.
It's going to start being, what have you done for me lately? But for now, Mike Tomlin. Go Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
All right, moving on swiftly. Shoot, we didn't decide. So let's just say Baltimore beats whoever wins in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Baltimore.
Well, it would be, I think that if the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Browns win, it'd actually be Browns-Ravens, which I can see the Browns upsetting the Ravens. I
think Baltimore beats Browns/Houston, and then I think it's Kansas City. It's Miami/ Kansas City versus Buffalo.
I think Buffalo wins that one.
You think Buffalo beats whoever wins?
I think it. So here's my prediction. I'm going to go through it. I think that the Bills beat the Steelers. And the Bengals, or not the Bengals, and the Browns beat the Houston Texans.
Okay.
The Browns go on to play the Ravens. I think that the Ravens beat the Browns.
Okay, I'm writing this all down.
Then I think that the Kansas City Chiefs play the Bills. I think the Bills upset the Chiefs here once again. Then I think it's Bills-Ravens, and I think that the Ravens beat the Bills.
The Ravens.
But I can see a scenario where the Ravens lose to the Browns, and I can see a scenario where the Chiefs beat the Bills.
Okay, so Andy says
I think that divisional round is up for grabs.
Andy says, let me just make sure I got this right. Andy says Cleveland beats Houston.
Yes.
And Andy says Kansas City beats Miami.
Yep.
And Andy says Buffalo beats Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And the Ravens beat the Browns, the Bills beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs beat the Bills. So Daniel says...
Wait, what? No. I said that the Bills beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Ravens beat the Bills.
That's what I just said.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. So I think Houston beats Cleveland.
Okay.
And then Miami beats Kansas City.
All right.
City... I'm sorry. This I don't know if this makes great podcast.
Whatever. I think so.
And Buffalo beats...
Make your picks more gravitas.
Buffalo beats
Pittsburgh. Yes. I think Buffalo beats Pittsburgh.
And Baltimore beats Cleveland.
Yeah.
Or Baltimore beats Houston. Baltimore beats whoever wins that game.
Okay.
And then Bills beat Chiefs, yeah. I don't know why I'm doing city names.
Whatever.
City and Ravens win the AFC.
Okay.
That sounds so stupid. I'm sorry. All right. Over to the NFC because this is more of a talk. I think Tampa Bay beats Philly.
Wrong.
I think Tampa Bay beats Philly.
No. I think Philadelphia wins. I think the Lions win, and I think Dallas wins.
Okay, so you said Philly, Detroit,
Dallas,
and Dallas win.
And then it would be Niners over Philly and Detroit over Dallas.
Niners over Philly. I'm liking this.
Detroit over Dallas. And then I think Niners over Detroit.
I don't like that last part.
I know you don't.
Yeah. So here's
the big game. The big game, though, is, come on, lay it out for us. The big game. Big game of the whole weekend.
Matthew Stafford's coming home.
He's coming home.
Coming home.
Oh, whatever. Okay, I'm going to stop.
Tell the world I'm coming home. Andy's been sending me Detroit
a lot. It's
Rams,
on my whole football page. It's on
For You page TikToks all week, and he has yet to send me one where it's like, I'm coming home.
No, I haven't seen that one.
But I'm excited. However, there's a couple things I want to get straight about Lions fans real quick. There's a lot of Lions fans out there that are very F Matthew Stafford. Boo him, kick him out. Don't wear Matthew Stafford jerseys.
I saw there was a jersey ban thing that they were trying to do.
Jersey bans at bars.
Boo.
You can still love your former quarterback and kick his ass. Okay?
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we should cheer for Matthew Stafford, but when Matthew Stafford runs out, I think maybe a light golf clap, maybe a recognition of everything he did for Detroit when he was here. kickoff, kick his ass, send him packing, give him a heart on the way out.
That's what we did to Manning.
Everybody is very, very negative on Matthew Stafford right now. It's probably
Nah.
because his wife Kelly's been pretty talkative on social media, and she's not been nice about it. She was like, "You guys broke my heart. Like I didn't know it was gonna be like this." Very like broken up ex type stuff. But yeah, kind of weird.
Continue though.
Yeah. So I think we welcome him home, kick his butt, and send him packing. Like I have no issue with that. However, if he beats us, we're going to have an issue. Like, we're going to have a major issue. But let's be real. Of any team in the NFL playoffs right now, nobody wants to play the Rams.
Nah.
This Rams team is hot.
It's good.
So, I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to stay with you. I'm going to say Tampa Bay,
Okay.
Detroit,
All right.
and Green Bay.
Ooh. Okay.
And then Green Bay would play Detroit. Detroit over Green Bay, for sure.
Yeah.
And then 49ers over Tampa Bay, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Detroit over
Okay.
49ers.
Whatever.
There's a lot of bias in there. I don't care. I'm happy.
Best Super Bowl matchup possibility of all time. Browns-Lions.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, hold up. If Browns play Lions in the Super Bowl, I'll have a great day.
That would be the greatest Super Bowl of all time.
Yeah. All right.
In my opinion.
Hopefully.
What? You got a text from some random person?
Yeah, some random number texted me about like a time for an interview, but I usually save my sources and contacts, so I don't know who that is. Okay, either way.
You're getting a job. With a random person?
No, it's not a job. I wish it was a job.
Oh, an
It's
an
an
interview.
interview for a story.
My bad.
Either way, I hope you hung on tight for this chaotic episode, and you're prepared to hang on a little bit tighter for a chaotic semester.
Yeah.
And the finale and the last dance.
That was one of the longest ones we've ever. That was a 70-minute one.
So
With just us.
hopefully you made it.
We had a lot of time.
Hopefully you made it.
You know, maybe people are wanting more.
Yeah, you guys want more?
Whatever.
Let us know. Sound off in the comments down below if you want more.
They won't. They're gonna get more either way.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
We don't care. We do what we do.
We do what we want
You want to know how we became Ball State Sports' premier sports podcast?
by doing this.
By doing whatever we want.
Yeah.
But we are going to leave now because it is late and I want to eat lunch. I'm really hungry.
I have homework.
And you have homework.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us on this episode of the Underqualified Knuckleheads Sports. Make sure you follow us on socials.
Yeah.
And listen to us wherever you get your podcast.
And you know what? This isn't goodbye. This is let's see you
later.
more. And let's continue it on.
That's it. All right.